So I was talking with my colleague the other day, and he says when he makes a grilled cheese, he loves to put kimchi on it because he thinks kimchi and gooey melted cheese is a match made in heaven. So today, we're going to put it to the test. Start off, we're going to make the super simple flatbread recipe. So I've already got my skewer loaded into the stand mixer bowl, and straight on the top of that, we're going to pour all-purpose flour. All the exact amounts and ingredients will be on the website, traditionalbutnot.com. Alright, straight on top of that, I'm going to go with the baking powder, and simple enough, last ingredient, it's going to be some salt. I told you a little fib, the last ingredient is actually going to be a little drizzle of olive oil. Just about a tablespoon's worth. Now we're going to get that onto the stand mixer. Now it's simple enough, we'll start it off on a low speed to get it incorporated. And once it all gets incorporated, we'll turn up the speed and let it knead away. After your dough's been kneading away for about 5 minutes or so, stop the machine. You want to get a little bit of oil down on your work surface. And you just want to get your dough out onto your work surface. And you just want to bring it into a nice little bowl. Now, the oil's going to just stop it sticking. You could use a little bit of flour as well, but I don't want to add too much more flour into this dough. So, we're just going to bring it into a nice little bowl. Little something like that. We'll just roll it around, get it nicely coated in the oil from the board. And we're going to plop it back in the bowl. I'm going to place a dinner plate on top. And we're going to let this rest while we prep our other ingredients. Okay, we're going to caramelize some onions. So, first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of oil in the pan. And then I've just gone ahead and sliced up a couple of onions. Just with a knife. Doesn't have to be precise. Also, this may look like a lot of onions, but trust me, there's going to be enough for maybe 2 to 3 portions once they've cooked down. Alright, so we're going to get the onions in the pan like that. We'll give them a good sprinkle of salt. And we're just going to get those all nice incorporated with the onion and get the salt all mixed through. And the salt's going to help draw out some of this moisture and help cook these onions down. So when I caramelize onions, I'm just going to get them to this stage here where I've just put the salt and give them a little mix around. And then I'm going to set the lid on and I'm going to turn this onto a medium heat. And what's going to happen is the water's going to get drawn out by the salt, and then it's going to help steam these onions so they're nice and soft. And then once we get to the next step, we'll come back. So with the onions, I haven't done really much anything to them. I've just gone in and stirred them a couple of times. And now most of the water has evaporated or gone. It's starting to actually caramelize a little bit on the bottom. And this is where the color is coming from. So at this point, I'm going to add just a splash of water. I'm going to keep it on a medium heat. And we're going to come back and keep stirring this every few minutes just to make sure nothing's sticking. And yeah, we're going to keep cooking them away. Once your onions start looking a little something like this, at this point, I'm going to leave the lid off and keep cooking them and getting more color on them. As you can see, they're nice and soft. So once your onions look a little something like that, they look a little almost jammy, we're going to keep cooking them. And as they get more color, we'll just keep mixing it in and we're going to keep cooking them down. Make sure you leave the lid off at this point. The onions are pretty much done. As you can see, they're deeply caramelized. Now just to get that last little bit of color up, I've just got a tiny bit of water here. You're just going to put that in and you're just going to rub the bottom. And then as soon as this is evaporated, we'll set these onions aside till we're ready to use them. We're also going to get the chicken on the go. Just want to add a little bit of oil to the pan. That's already preheated. I've cut some chicken into strips just like that. Now, I went to the store and I wanted to get some chicken thighs, but all I could find were these breasts and tenders, so that's what I'm using. I would much prefer to be using thighs, but you got to use what you can get your hands on. So also I'm going to go hit that with some salt, and I'm just going to get these spread out. I'm going to cook these chicken off. Once your chicken's cooked to your desired liking, go ahead, take it out, and set it aside till we're ready to use it. Now I've had the dough resting for about half an hour, and I've already weighed mine out, and I'm going to divide it into 10 equal bowls. So it's just simple enough, go ahead, weigh them out, and then we'll come back. Once you got them all portioned out, you're just going to go ahead and roll them into nice taut little balls. So just in your hand, apply a little bit of downward pressure, and with your thumb, just pull it in the bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just when we roll these out with a rolling pin later, it's much easier to get the shape we want when you're starting off with something like this compared to something like that. Okay, you can roll these out. Just going to put a little bit of flour down. Also a little bit on the rolling pin. And why not? We'll give some to the hands too. So I like to start just by pushing it out with my fingers first. Just like that. And then from the middle of this bowl, I go a little bit up and back. And then turn it 90 degrees. from the middle. Again, every time you roll it, just flip it 90 degrees, and that'll help keeping a nice round shape. And just go ahead, rolling it out until we get the thickness and the circumference that we need. Once you got a little something like this, something not too thick, not too thin, we're gonna head to the pan. You're gonna get your pan preheated, and look what else I found in Austria. Spray oil. So I'm gonna give it a little spritz, and then flatbread goes in, and we're gonna cook it. Okay, once it puffs up a little bit like that, go ahead and flip it, and cook the other side. Don't be afraid to press it down a little bit so it gets good browning on the other side as well. Once you've got good colour on that side, you just want to move it off to the side and carry on cooking the rest. To build your cheesy flatbread, you want to get your flatbread back in the pan. You want a good amount of cheese on the bottom. And then I've just gone ahead and chopped up the chicken into, little bite-sized pieces like that. And we'll go ahead with a bit of onion. And then the reason why we're actually here, the kimchi. I have a nice big dollop of kimchi. Also, as you'll notice, I'm building it up just on one side here. So on top of that, you're gonna follow it with more cheese, and then we're gonna fold it. So you just wanna flip it over, and then you just wanna give it a nice push down, so it all joins together. So, let's see if my colleague was right. Gooey cheese and kimchi. It's a match made in heaven.